Well, cats, we are back at it with Doreen Virtue, and as you may or may not know, I put out a video about Doreen a little bit after the first round that everyone put out when Doreen announced that she had become a quote-unquote born-again Christian. This time around, it's a little bit more... I don't want to say more specific, because it's not that it's more specific, it's that it details an entire list, an alphabetical list of New Age practices to avoid because they are of the devil. And the list includes things like mindfulness practice. Well, you can't have that. You can't be using your own mindfulness when you have God to do it for you. It includes modalities like hypnotherapy, making vision boards, because goddess forbid that you dream it first. It includes things like empowerment and affirmations, especially affirmations that don't specifically make mention of God. And I think one of the examples that she gives is like, I am fantastic, or I am beautiful, or I am, wonderful, or something like that. The Secret is another one, so law of attraction type thing, yoga. So we're talking about disciplines that have been around for millennia, so yoga. So she suggests instead doing Pilates. That way, even though maybe there's some Jesus-focused yoga out there, by doing Pilates, you're taking the extra mile to distance yourself from a tradition that is mired in imitating goddesses and gods, because according to her, anything that involves a deity or a divinity that is not God or Jesus is also of the devil. Sweat lodges, Native American practices, shamanism, the existence of energy centers known as chakras in Hinduism. All of these are demonic or of the devil, and if you take a look at this list, it's like a recipe for either creating OCD if you're predisposed, or really exacerbating the OCD problem that you might already have. This is not good news for any anxiety sufferer. It's kind of the equivalent of, opening all your mail and it's all a chain letter going, if you don't forward this, death is going to befall you. But first, you're going to lose your whole family, your cat, all your assets, your home, your kids, and you are not going to see your, dearly departed grandma in heaven. Instead, you're going to roast in hell for all of eternity. It's like, yeah. So it's not good, and it really does stink of cultural ignorance, of xenophobia, of racism. I would almost rather have the problem be cultural appropriation, because at least there's some misguided sense of, of at least welcoming and being tolerant of other cultures, even if there's some problematic stuff involved, But this is cultural intolerance, not just intolerance. It's not just saying, oh, for myself and my own spiritual tradition, this just doesn't fit. And no, you're not tolerating it for anyone else. And in fact, you're saying that it's downright evil. So if it doesn't fit in with what she calls the narrow path, if it's maybe something that fit in with what her parents practiced, they were New Thought Christians and they were all about manifestation. They taught her from an early age how to use all of the senses in order to manifest things. She was saying that when she was little, like they would all sit around this picture of a brown Pinto because that's the kind of car her dad wanted. And they put all of their senses into manifesting this car for the family. And basically anything else that the family wanted, and it would always happen. And the way she was describing her family, it sounds like a really well-adjusted group of people. I don't know. I mean, I know that OCD is evolutionarily viable because people with OCD created all of the elaborate rituals. There's really not other, like really no other way to kind of explain how the rituals came about that involved touching a certain part of the body a certain number of times. And it's kind of like, I don't know if anyone else here has had an OCD diagnosis, but I know for myself the compulsion to do things that look out of the ordinary, you know, we think that we're sort of undoing what our intrusive thoughts are telling us to do, or telling us to think, or will be calling into reality if we don't do something to counteract those thoughts. So I think this helped build all of these religious rituals. And I do believe that rituals have done a great deal of good over the centuries and the millennia, not just a lot of bad. But when it comes to literally demonizing other people's religious practices that have never hurt anyone, in fact, that have in many cases contributed to the richness of their culture, it's white privilege, you know. It's I know that not all Christians are white, obviously, but I mean, if you look at this list, all of the other religions that are involved, they're not religions that started out white. So, you know, it's problematic. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just going to leave it here because I don't have the list in front of me, and I think you get the hint. You know, there's reiki, there's I don't know what else to say. Just think of what practice that you might have incorporated through your mystery school or through some ecumenical knowledge that you've gained and in religions of the world that you may have studied, or things that have gone into your witchcraft practice or cultural appreciation, things that you've brought in, and see if it's on her list, because most likely it's going to be on her list in one form or another. And if it's not that specific word, then there's another word that pretty much sums it up, and it's it's very white. And I don't mean white, I mean it's exclusive. It excludes and it others, and it come on, Selkit, come on, baby. And it pushes away, and it draws further divides, and come on, baby. And there's really nothing good that can come of that, regardless of what she's putting forth with all of this demon talk. And it's not doing favors for anyone who has made a lot of progress to break out of that anxiety mentality. anyone who has entered into a realm with more freedom involved, more freedom of thought, of mind, peace of mind. A lot of us have spent years battling against the confines of some really unhealthy thinking that maybe was imposed on us by our own parents or our own ancestry. So everyone just continue to fight the good fight. Nothing you're doing is evil unless it actually is. And have empathy, have compassion. Try your best and don't give up on yourselves and on your practices. Okay? Come on. Silk it. I'm gonna continue worshiping this one. Yes, I'm gonna get Silk it. I'm gonna continue. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, I've stirred her up. Oh my god, I've stirred her up and now I have to play with her. She's all riled up. Alright. She's all riled up. Okay, bye.